Okay, let's do a deep dive into what Object.is actually does. First of all, it's exactly the same as the triple equals operator, except you can now compare two nans and it returns true, and you can compare 0 with -0 and it returns false. There's no other difference. Here's the console.log. You see it's true. If I put a negative, it's false. Okay. If I put two nans, it's also true. Okay, but how does this actually work, and how can we write our own function like that? Let's do it. Let's do Object.is is now equal to our own function, taking in A and B. Let's just console.log and say that we made this, just so we know that it's not the regular function running, right? Okay, what's our goal here? Well, we only have to take care of the 0 situation and the NaN situation. Everything else, we can just use return triple equals and it'll work. So let's take care of the zeros. How do we do that? Well, we have to make sure that both A and B are actually zeros. So const both zeros like this, and it will be equal to A triple equals 0 and B triple equals 0. And then we can do something like if both are zeros. Now, how do we check to see if something is -0? JavaScript is weird. If you do like const num is equal to -0, and then you do num.toString, it takes away the negative. Now, you might think that this is the same as this, but it's not. Okay. So here's a few cases where it's not. If you do 5 divided by 0, infinity. 5 divided by -0, negative infinity. Okay. In math, if you have an equation that deals with sine, cosine, especially arctangent, it actually works differently too. So if we do like math, arctan, right? If we do 0 and 0, we get 0. With -0, we still get 0. But if we use the arctan2 formula, we get pi. Okay? And +0, we just get 0. Now, we get pi for arctan2 because arctan2 uses ratios. Okay? Now, we can check for that, but you can also do something else. You can just return what a.toLocale string. Okay? Now, toLocale string is actually better than toString. It returns as much information about the thing that it's converting as possible. Okay? And also, it's language, right? So if you live in like Palestine or something like that, it will actually conform to your language, right? So it's always better to use toLocale string. So you can use that and then compare it strictly to b.toLocale string, right? So now if we do Object.is 0 and -0, we get false, right? 0 and 0, we get true. Cool. All right. So how do we take care of the NaN situation? Well, you should know that type of NaN is a number. So to check for NaN, we have to first check if they're both type number. Const both are numbers is equal to type of A equals number, and type of B also strictly equal to number. Okay. So then we can do another if statement. If both are numbers. Now, how do we check for NaN? Well, everything has a .toString, right? And we just check that they are numbers. So if we do return, and instead of toString or toLocale string, you can actually just use the string constructor. String A strictly equal to string B, right? And then if all of these if statements don't run, that just means it's a normal comparison. So we just return A triple equals to B. All right. So now if we come over to the right and we do Object.is 0, -0, we get false. What if we do NaN and NaN? We get true. What if we do NaN and string NaN? It's false, right? And string NaN is not the same. And how do we prevent this from being true? Because we actually check if both of the types are numbers. Because if they enter in a string NaN, its type is string. Okay? And now for any other thing, it will work like a regular comparison operator. See, this is false, right? All right, I hope this was helpful.